Brent, have you ever felt like you're alone?
Every day.
I think I'm the only person who's getting hit with allergies right now. It's not even allergy season, and whatever reason, starting really it started
Actually,
maybe yesterday, but
it
just
is allergy season. It's like the first
really,
few warm days after a bunch of
yeah.
cold Arizona days.
So anyway, it's wreaking havoc with me. Like it was. I looked, told Jen, I said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna wind down and start bed. And, yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. If I'm out cold, before you get head into the bedroom, good night." And it was 7:47.
Yeah, it sounds about right. That's not normal for you.
usually, usually I can make it to like 8:30, but like the last night, that was it. It was. I was done early. Done early. Um, what? How about you? How are you doing?
Doing all right. Yeah, just I thought today would be. I thought this morning would be a better morning, but feel about the same as I did yesterday morning. So
Are you-
uh, I'm not too sure what has changed, but getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock it used to be really easy. This week, not so easy.
yeah. Well, I mean, with allergies again, that kind of thing. I didn't wake up this morning until I didn't roll out of bed till 5:38, which is like 22, 24 minutes ago. And that's not normal. Like usually it's and I know that's what everybody wants to hear this morning. It's like, hey, let's hear how Brent and Mike both end their day and start their day. Um and no, there are no pillboxes like the whole Sunday through what do those things do? Like the 7 days a week. You gotta and where are my pills?
Yeah,
None of that kind of none of that kind
people have figured out that the show banter goes on for a little while, so they probably don't even show up until quarter after, anyways.
it's kind of like us. I don't know that we show up until about quarter after. It's where the banter can help. But yeah, it's one of those weird weeks. And I bet you're probably right. It's probably connected something to the change in weather. And I've heard that we're going to get a cold snap here in the next couple of weeks too. So I mean it's one of the really hard parts about living in Arizona. Like it can be, as low as mid 30s early in the morning when it gets really cold. And at the same time of year, it could be in the mid to low 50s in the morning. Um, and it just changes like that. But we don't have to deal with snow
This is true.
or ice.
Yeah, the ground is covered in sunshine. Sorry, all you Northeasterners. I think that's why everybody moves out here.
I like that we're back to the Arizona backdrop.
You like that?
Like,
I didn't get enough time to work on my images that match the news for the day.
oh,
So I'm just leaving it here. Trying to figure out how to mix my audio, and it's annoying me in significant ways. So
what are you looking for? Like, what's the benefit of mixing audio? Because
I want to be able to play sound from my browser into Restream for you.
Okay, so we could get those like stingers.
Yes.
There we go. I know, Craig.
And that way I don't have to download them and send them to you, and then you have to deal with the Restream, and you put it into the Restream and blah, 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 blah. If it just is in my audio mix that I'm sending to Restream, then we don't have to worry about it. Then it's easy. Then I can manage it, and it's no big deal. But it shouldn't be this freaking hard on a Mac to take some sound from a software, make a virtual input with a microphone and that software, and mix that sound and send it out. It can be done. I just don't know why. Well, at least let me clarify. I used to be able to do it, and it used to be no problem. So I don't know what the deal is. Good morning, Wendy.
Good morning, Wendy. As we get warmed up, a couple of things. We've got our right now we're calling it a hackathon. The name is up for reinterpretation at any point in time, just like anything else. I mean, we're building in flight as we go through here on February 18th. We're going to bring, you get to bring your AI tool of choice. We will bring the challenge. And at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern, a little bit later in the day, 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern, we're going to run a 90-minute hackathon and show off the capability of these tools with a single challenge and the interpretation by the human who brings their tools. It's like bring your AI to work day. Um, is AI in the adolescent stage where you can bring the AI to work?
Yes, it should be, but it's not. It's more like bring AI to work day is more like bring your puppy to work day.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's like bring your puppy to work day, not the kid. Okay.
It'll shit on the floor. It'll demand that you pay attention to it. It'll make you walk it, and then at times it'll just lay there and do nothing.
It is so funny how quickly dogs will adapt to a new routine. I know this is going to sound like we're bad dog owners, and I think we've been pretty good at that. But we've just now started taking Murphy and Grizz out for evening walks. Murphy was just a bit of a maniac, so Grizz started missing out on his evening walks, and now we've reintroduced him, and we have reintroduced a whole new world to this dog. This dog is like right after Jen and I finished dinner, he's like, "All right, it's time. Countdown's ready. I'm ready to get going. It's time for us to go take a lap around the block and get that walk going." And it's really cool. It's cool to see, but I mean, it's literally it's just in the last 2 weeks. And if we're late, it's like being late for dinner. He's like, why is my world ended? How do you just not like me anymore?
do you not love me anymore?
So there we go. All right. News. Do we have news today?
We do have good news today. I don't know if it's good news. Like I said, I was obsessing about the audio issues, and so I haven't even had a chance to read the news yet. But because I was really kind of hoping to play a musical news theme song, but no.
What would you like me to sing?
You have to sing quietly underneath me. It's called ducking. So when I talk, you get soft, and then when I stop talking, you raise your volume. Okay, so we'll go old school.
Can I
There you go. Yes. Good morning, learning leaders. It's February 3rd. And if you haven't had your coffee yet, don't worry. Today's news is a double shot of adrenaline straight to your corporate strategy. I'm your host, and we are the L&D Morning Brief, or Live with Brent and Mike, whatever you want to call it. First up, our breaking news. If you are in healthcare or HR, I hope you like paperwork, because the Part 2 final rule compliance deadline is looming on February 16th. What are we talking about? We're talking about massive changes to the 42 CFR Part 2 confidentiality of substance use disorder records. The feds are aligning this with HIPAA, which sounds nice until you realize the penalties for non-compliance just jumped from a $500 slap on the wrist to a potential $2.1 million sell your office furniture nightmare. Why it matters? L&D isn't just nice to have here. It's the legal shield. You need documented refresher training for every affected employee now. If your LMS doesn't have a time-stamped audit trail for this by the 16th, your legal department is going to be spending Valentine's Day crying over a shredder.
I'm feeling like we should move to monthly news.
No, this is different. This is the first news story we've had in a while.
This one's different than the other ones.
Yeah,
Why
no,
do they all sound the same?
it's just compliance related. Here's the thing that struck me. This is out of the HIPAA journal. So this is the last bastion of L&D. This just dawned on me
Okay.
in learning AI and whatnot. Compliance is it. I mean, compliance is what it's always been about, but nobody wanted to admit it. So okay, we'll pretend that the last 20 years was about learning and helping people get better at their job, and we're so important. But it's always been about compliance. Always has been about protecting the company, protecting the business, protecting the assets, protecting the company from legal assault, from losing money. It's been a risk management tool for owners and executives and businesses. And so this is the last thing that we get to have control over, is compliance. It still needs to be done. The training needs to be created. You either need to buy it or you need to make it. And that's it. And so the more these new rules and regulations come out, the more work we have to do. So these are all good things. I say it, I speak of it with a mild disdain, but only because it's not that I don't like the fact that we have work to do it and that it's compliance. It's just that most people just don't they won't believe the honest truth about our purpose in the business. And this is it. Compliance is it. That's the thing. Maybe a small percentage of companies say, yeah, our people are smarter and better because of our L&D department and we couldn't live without them. Maybe. And if you're one of those L&D people lucky enough to be sitting in that seat in that company, good on you. You are lucky, and enjoy it while you can.
Well, and I'd like to bring you on this, whether we interview you here or interview on the podcast that I've got. I'd like to hear from you what that experience is like and what the evolution is and how it's changed from other companies that you were at before and companies that you're at now. And because I think there's an opportunity to learn from people who are fortunate enough or lucky enough to be in those kind of situations. So if that sounds like you, let us know, please.
Indeed, we would super love it. So the reference here is from the HIPAA journal.
Okay.
So if you do work in healthcare, I know a ton of you do. For those of you that are new to the industry, you might also be interested in knowing that there is, and I'm going to forget the acronym now. Dang it. There is, you may have heard of Training Magazine. You may have heard of Training Industry. You may have heard of ATD or TD. You may have heard of the e-learning guild or the learning guild, but there is an actual organization and an association, a relatively large one, considering that it's very unique to just pharmaceutical people training in pharmaceuticals and healthcare and medical stuff. And I can't remember the acronym. Maybe one of our producers can do a quick Google search and see if you can find it. But Craig. Yeah, if you work in healthcare, it's all you. There is a place for you. If you're doing learning or training or whatever in pharmaceuticals and healthcare, this place is specifically focused on just you guys. So,
Kataun, good to see you. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Good to see a fresh face. Thanks for jumping into the chat and commenting as well. It is good.
So in the background, Craig made fun of me for not knowing what ducking is. like this is, I mean, again, we're in a profession where it's about learning and reinforcing.
Oh no.
Reinforcing this behavior of I don't know what happened to my connection. I'm going to put us on the on the proper side of
Oh,
it.
thank you. I
Yeah,
know it's so
but
uncomfortable for me to be on that side.
we're reinforcing this learning out loud thing, and then I go into our little private community only chat channel that's in Slack, and I get in caps audio ducking. Sheesh, Mike.
Yes, but
I don't
he's
know.
laughing too. He gave you the laughing emoji, so it's okay. Hey, sorry. And
That's like
so,
sarcasm.
yeah, Craig's giving me some audio feedback. He says that since I pushed the mic further away, uh, when I type, you hear pounding. It's so sorry. I will try not to type. I will just reference everybody um, through vocal expression.
There we go. The Brent feed has the comments. So yeah, if you want to be in the comments and get your comments up on the board, which we're still trying to figure out why the tech is working this way. It's kind of like Brent's inability to mix inside the applications that he was able to mix them before. Sometimes organizations push updates live and they don't consult with the end user before doing it. And and
Crazy people.
it is absolutely insane. This is that whole, build fast and break things,
Yeah.
ship.
Well, I
Good.
think we should bookmark this story because the one thing that this particular story made me think of was as we start to see more of these types of news stories pop up, um, we should keep a running list of new regulations and new
Yeah.
compliance stuff that's required. Because also for you companies or businesses that are out there that your whole product set is off the shelf training courses that everybody mocks and makes fun of, but yet their companies still buy it from you. Good on you, first of all. Way to take advantage of the business reality, despite what anybody says. This is new product set for you. So start creating the 42 CFR Part 2 confidentiality of substance use disorder compliance training. Because someone's going to come knocking on your door and say, hey, do you happen to have a bundle of courses that also takes care of this requirement in the 42 CFR Part 2 confidentiality of substance use disorder? And you're going to say, why, no, I didn't realize that was a thing until I listened to Live with Brent and Mike. And so we are working on it right now and building it as a new product set. And you'll get 50% off if you order it right now, and we'll update it for you.
This is one of those things. So we had the 42 CFR back when I was at when I worked at the airport, UPS. That was the book that we had to go to, and it had all the guidelines in there around things related to air operations safety, if I remember right. And this is like back in the day. Like this is in the 90s. Like so back then, and around really heavy equipment and large airplanes and all that other kind of stuff, helping you get your packages on time. The This is what I usually I've leaned so heavily into this whole thing around. I don't think industry specific experience is important or is as important as people make it. Because we're just applying the same skills, working with people in different environments, and we might call them different things, but they're still ultimately the same kind of skill functionally. If you get back to like a core um, lowest
Yeah.
common denominator or a core definition or something like that. Except when it comes to this kind of stuff, those specific regulations for which we need to comply to. So there, maybe this is one of those things where learning for me here on a Tuesday, February the 3rd, is maybe there is value in industry specific knowledge and experience, but at the same time, go ahead.
Let's just earmark that and let's come back to it. So
Okay.
somebody make notes,
Thank you.
somebody somewhere.
I
And
made note
let's
there. I got it. I got it.
Oh, okay, good. We'll make that a conversation because I think you're right. I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something. This will be a topic for diving deeper.
All right.
But
For
thank
sure.
you, LinkedIn user, for L10. By the way, the LTEN. That's exactly the organization I was thinking about. So if you're in healthcare, pharmaceuticals, I think it's I forget exactly even what it stands for, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to say thank you, LinkedIn user. So part two, story number two. This is moving to tech and innovation. 2025 was the year we all talked to chatbots. Oh, here we go again. This one might be a duplicate. 2026 is the year the bots start doing our jobs. Agentic AI is officially the it girl for HR tech. Okay, I'm going to have to go into the instructions and have it do some historical documenting and say, hey, you know what? If we've talked about this before, come up with something else. ADP and Gartner are reporting that agentic AI is now moving beyond simple FAQs. These agents are crossing ecosystems. They're not just recommending a course, they're proactively identifying a skill gap in your payroll data, scheduling the training, and verifying the compliance in another system. Why it matters. For L&D, this means the instructional designer, I love that they put it in quotes, is evolving into a learning engineer. You aren't just building slides anymore, you're managing a fleet of AI agents that deliver in the flow of work learning. Hat tip to Bob and Bob Mosier and Conrad Godfredson for the flow of work. If you aren't learning how to audit AI outputs today, you're basically the guy who refused to learn to use a microwave in 1980. That's as funny as this story gets.
All right. For those of you who are new to listening to the show or new and engaging the show, we do have a private Slack channel that we are working to help improve. Where we're working to help improve like real time engagement back and forth. If you'd like an invitation to that, please let Brent and I know, and we'll make sure we get that over to you. We are building in flight. We're working on improving the engagement that we have in real time. Right now, we've got about a 2-minute delay between when you type a comment in and when we see it. And then there's another minute delay from after we read it. So we've got about a 3-minute gap between when you start typing away and when you might hear us comment.
And then there's a 5-minute gap before Brent stops talking. So
there is. And actually, yeah. So this was a prompt that I got from Craig, and I said, "Well, when Brent takes a breath, I will add this in." So there we go. And but we all know our skills. We know we know our tells. We know our things. I can tell you this. I appreciate, and I know I've said this before, but we've got some new people in here. I appreciate the humorous side of our producer. Like our this is so much better than when our producer was educated. We went back in time and we said, let's go to the uneducated. Don't be so smart, producer. And humor is now kind of hit on my side of things.
It's so for those of you that are super into AI and what happened, all I did was change one word. I changed in the section where I give it a persona, because that's proper prompting. Instead of professional, I erased professional and I put in hilarious. And instead of e.g. a financial news show, I wrote a Saturday Night Live skit. So those were the only two changes I made, and it went from horrible, horrible script, horrible writing, horrible telling of the story to at least what Mike and I think is hilarious. So, viewers' values may vary.
Well, that's why it's our show for right now as we build it, and then we'll attract this amazing group of people, and it will become all of our shows as we go through it.
Yeah. So story, this tech and innovation story, it started off, I was thinking, oh, here we go again. It's the same old story. However, it does have two news sources.
Okay, cool.
So, and it did, I think, change up the story at least a little bit. The basic idea of the story is the same. However, the instructional designer, in quotes, evolving into a learning engineer, I think
Yep.
is a little bit new. And you aren't just building slides anymore. You're managing a fleet of AI agents that deliver in the flow of work learning. So yes, we've kind of talked about it, but when we talk about checking your AI to make sure, you know, who's actually telling the story and where did they get the information as being really important. This one comes from ADP Spark and Radency HR Trends 2026. So everybody's copying everybody else's trends and coming up with reports in order to get clicks and likes and everything. And it's all basically going to be the same thing from a different point of view, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's well, where my head went, and because I stopped listening and was trying to remember what I was going to say, which I know it happens. It doesn't
Did
happen
I
to me. It
interrupt
really
you?
doesn't happen to me as much. But as I'm getting older, and we're doing this earlier in the morning, and I've not had as much coffee, the thing that I think is interesting about it is this whole learning engineer piece. Have you heard people talk about go to market engineer or GTM engineer?
Yeah.
You heard
Yep.
that out there. Okay, right. So we hear these things. It's interesting. Um, what does an engineer do? So, from your perspective, what's an engineer do?
A builder, a designer builder of things.
So, I think there's a little bit different. Like
Or solves
there's someone,
problems,
right?
problem solver.
There's someone who builds something. An engineer solves problems. I think is a good way to look at it. They engineer solutions.
There you go.
That
Sure.
includes things like if you look at it, just do a quick search for um, Raptor and SpaceX, and you'll see the different versions
Oh
of
yeah.
the propulsion system for the SpaceX rockets, and you'll see version one. I think right now they're on version 3, and one of the things you'll notice when you look at it is it looks like the engine is much simpler. They've removed a lot of the unnecessary and have only kept the necessary, and that's what an engineer does, at least from my perspective, is they work to help. They solve problems. Now, the architect might put things together and like make it look functional. And the designer might take that same thing and make it look pretty. And then there's somebody who's got to come in behind and they got to go there with a hammer and a wrench and or control the bots, whichever version of this we're looking at, but they've got to actually they do the building, right? So there's an architect, there's an engineer, there's a designer, there's a builder, and then there's a fixer. And these are all different roles that you see starting to play a part. Here's the thing that I struggle with when we talk about learning designers becoming learning engineers. Yeah, I'm pausing for effect.
Okay.
The
I'm waiting with breathless anticipation.
problem I have is many of you don't know how to solve problems. Like you just go and you just do and you just kind of you pull these things together. So there are people. Ira Fulton is the name of the school at Arizona State University. The subset within the university system is a school of engineering. And so if you want to call yourself engineers, go figure out what an engineer does and then say, how do I apply that to what I'm doing? What am I doing? Am I actually solving problems? Am I simplifying this thing? Am I removing the unnecessary? Am I reducing complexity? Those kind of things. And this is my get off my lawn rant for this morning. Is it's super fun to be able to put this together. Like I was working with someone and they're like, dude, you know what you should do? Because I was making fun of the GTM engineer thing. And that's what
I remember.
I start making fun of this stuff just because we've seen it before. We've experienced these things, not at the pace and not with the same technology, but we've seen it before. I've watched that movie before. I understand the story. I know what the hero's journey is. I know what Cinderella is. I know how that applies to, you know, Princess Bride. Like well, all of this. We've seen these different things before. So if you want to evolve into an engineer, then figure out what an engineer does and be an engineer. Don't just put it up there as a title because somebody says, "Hey, this is what you are now," and Craig is throwing shade. How do I apply my skills? Craig, what skills do you have? I know.
All right, we're gonna have to pocket this conversation.
Look at this. I've been pocketed now twice.
Put it on the. We call this a parking lot. If we're gonna talk to the corporate people, this is the parking lot. Go put it on the parking lot. We're gonna deal with it later.
Yeah, you know what happens when stuff goes into the parking lot.
The wheels get stolen.
Keep going. Moving on. Craig, we can always talk about skill application.
Oh,
I think we should be in industry at this point, either the people side or the industry side.
We're on the people side.
People side. There we go.
Yeah, that was only the second story, man. It's some good stuff today. Now for human and culture. New neuroscience research dropped literally hours ago. That is making scientists, and should make you, rethink everything about how we learn. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes, Craig. They're going to talk about it.
Yes.
A massive imaging study published today reveals that the brain networks for remembering facts and recalling life events are almost identical. We used to think they were separate files. Turns out the brain uses the same folder for how to use Excel and that time I fell at the prom. Why it matters. This is a huge win for storytelling in L&D. If the brain doesn't distinguish between data and experience, your death by PowerPoint is failing because it has no emotional hook to latch onto. To make training stick, you have to treat every technical module like a life event. Wrap your compliance in a narrative, and it'll be forgotten faster than a New Year's resolution.
All right, I see the nonverbal communication.
Well, this is from Science Daily, so it's got to be legit if it's science. And I was going along great. I was following the story just fine up until that last line.
Which part? Why?
Wrap your compliance in a narrative, or it'll be forgotten faster. Okay, I skipped the or when I read it the last time. Let me read it better this time, and I'll leave, and I'll emphasize the comma. Wrap your compliance in a narrative, or it'll be forgotten faster than a New Year's resolution.
There we go. Punctuation matters.
I skipped the or part because that confused me. I maybe have read it, but my brain was like, wrap your compliance in a narrative. It'll be forgotten faster than a New Year's resolution.
No, that's how you read it.
That's how I read it?
That's how you read it the first time.
That didn't make any sense, did it? That's why I was making the funny faces. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. This is not right.
Why you weren't getting any reaction because it didn't relate. Let's go through your stuff again. Training is.
Training is an event. Learning is a process. Technology supports them both. And if you're in a really cool company, performance improvement is what you should expect to be doing.
Even if you're not in a cool company, like here's the cool part about it. Like, imagine raising kids. If you told them every time you asked them to do something differently, or you wanted them to do something different, you're coaching them, training them along, you shared with them your process directly with them. So here's why I'm telling you no in this specific manner, or here's why I've got these things in place. Like, can you imagine doing that kind of stuff? Like, what would happen?
They would say, why?
Well, they would say why. Up until the point that it is just completely mentally beaten out of them with, because I said so. And it's just, there's this But you imagine if you just gave all of the nooks and crannies and the little bits of detail all the way through. There are some who might appreciate it. There are others who are like, come on, just tell me what I got to do because I need to perform my job. Like that's all I need to do. That's just it. That's where I want to get to. And I think there's some really important stuff here. The important nugget for me is how we bridge the gap between what you this new thing and what you already know so that you can put it into practice
Mhm.
and then ultimately um, overcome over a
Yeah.
period of time. You do the work and then you overcome the forgetting curve, right?
Well,
Ebbinghaus,
they
right?
call it mapping it to prior knowledge,
Yeah.
right? In
Okay.
instructional design, and this is what you should be doing in your assessments as a good instructional designer is assessing the skill levels, assuming the knowledge that goes along with it of your target audience, right? Um, and the part that's different in this story and why um, this does reference prior knowledge, past information that you're in order to remember, recall the facts. It's connecting it to emotions, which is important. So having an emotional stimuli attached to it is critical, and so that's why remembering facts and recalling life events uses the exact same part of the brain. If I'm reading that right, I'll have to go in and look at Science Daily and see a little bit more closely exactly what they're referring to. But in their example, the brain uses the same folder for how to use Excel and that time I fell at the prom. Um, it's So what exactly did they say that it means? So wrapping it in the narrative. So
Yeah.
putting a story around it, right? I would say so there's the narrative story, and we've been talking about telling stories and telling narratives in L&D for a long, 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 long time. Some people are telling it today on LinkedIn, I'll bet, like it's new, and that's cool because they're new and they probably haven't read all of the decades of stuff that we've been talking about forever. But a story is good, but stories elicit emotion, is what I'm getting to. And if you tell a story correctly with and do it right, the hero's journey, all that kind of stuff, it sits with people. And if there's a hook that shocks them, it will stick. Your learning sticks better when you give them an emotional zinger.
Yeah.
Literally, it was one of the very first. It was one of the very, very, very first. I don't know what neuroscience learning theories that I heard from an expert when after I graduated from uh, with the masters from ASU. One of the very first, and it actually applied at Intel. Um, it was Mike Allen talking about training airline folks on why it's important to go through all of the procedures.
Mm.
And they spent some of the money to create a Hollywood style movie of the plane crashing or
Sure.
just the results of something not happening, and it's intense, and
Right.
it's like it like raises your heart rate and all that kind of stuff. And so basically he was hoping to scare the shit out of them so that they would learn how to do it. So I'm not saying that you need to scare people to death, but you need to move them emotionally somehow if you really want that hook or if you want that information to stick. Sorry, long rant. I
No, it's good.
apologize.
It's good. I mean, in the and one of the things I do when I'm both when I'm speaking and when we're and what we're doing relative to the newsletters, we have this section called Learn, Think, Act. Um, and Learn, Think, Act is all about you take in new information, you think, you reflect on how it applies to what you already know, and then you reduce the load associated with taking action. You make that next step easier or simpler to do because you've been there before. You've done that thing before. It's not all this crazy thing where you've got to go look at another research paper on why this thing is going to work. You just go do it. And then you're like, dude, that worked. Or I did it and Shit, it didn't work. Okay, did it not work because I didn't do it properly, or did it not work because of something else? Like, right, like now we can use our feedback loops to help us understand, or help us iterate and adjust as we move things forward. And that's one of the cool things we see are happening at speed, like such an amazing speed right now from an AI perspective, is this learning that can happen through iteration. Sometimes we don't want the iteration to happen. Like sometimes you just want to be hilarious SNL, not not communicate with the humies the way that you think the humies want to hear all the cool things. But there's this piece that's very important, and I think the question is, what senses do we want to draw on when we create that experience? You know, is it a sense of smell? Like, how many experiences do you remember because of the smell that happened when you were there? Like,
You know, the funny thing is that I couldn't just tell you off the top of my head, but if I were to smell that
whatever it is,
smell again, it would come back instantaneously.
it's amazing, and it's absolutely amazing how you can use these senses to help you say, "Hey, what do I want to do? How do I connect this thing? How do I help the synapses synapse so that we then can move everybody forward?" And sometimes it takes a long time to get people to move forward, and it's not because they're dumb, although that happens. It's because it's because they just maybe they don't have the same experience, or maybe they don't have the same perspective, or maybe
Yeah.
they don't have the maybe they're so hung up in their head around how something feels versus what's really happening. And I had something recently happen with me, and it's absolutely fucking dumbfounding. And there we go. F bomb at 6:41, 41 minutes into it.
Boop.
I finally, yeah, I've been having a really hard time getting off the tee with my driver. Like one of the clubs that is the most. It's you get to set it up the same way every time, and for whatever reason, I'm struggling, and I'm still working through the struggle. But went through, and I was like, look, I just want to focus on the driver. And he started working with, he said, well, let me see you hit your wedge. And then moved into an iron, and boom, fast forward. Anyway, what ended up happening was he noticed something very important. I was putting way too much weight on my right foot, on my back foot. I did not have as much weight on my left foot. I've changed that, and the ball contact that I made yesterday when I played was completely different. Like just little things like that that I had no concept of, but from an athletic perspective, and not. I mean, I know, hey, if I'm going to be trying to move the ball forward, I should have more weight moving forward. I shouldn't have that weight behind me, but I need somebody else to see it. So remember that when you're engaging with people, it's sometimes people can't see the things that is so obvious to you. Uh, and for me, when you're coaching me up, his best approach would have been, "Look here, you fucking idiot! Put your more forward, foot forward, weight forward. That's going to fix some things." And he could have done that a lot faster. Instead, he did it because he's got to work with a bunch of other people. He was a little bit less direct, but it ultimately got to the same point, which is, "Hey, meathead." Play the game with your foot forward, not behind you. So
I love it, and I love that. I love that Wendy's husband is listening in too and shouting out, "These guys are morons. That's not science. That's psychology." Hat tip to your husband, Wendy.
yes,
Tell him
thank you.
thanks for listening too. For putting up with a couple idiots on YouTube. Oh, well, here's our last story for today. It's industry specific. For those of you that are new, we do the top breaking story, we do a tech and innovation story, and we do a culture and humanity story, all related to L&D, though, of course. And this one, our fourth segment of the day, is an industry specific one. I've asked the AI to pick any industry, but pick out an important story that's impacting that industry related to L&D. Today, it's financial services. And a new 2026 report for financial institutions shows a decentralization explosion. Only 11% of banks now have a central L&D department calling the shots. Instead, department heads are seizing the wheel, demanding expert-authored content that moves at the speed of the market. Why it matters. If you're in finance L&D, your role just became consultant in chief. You can't be the bottleneck anymore. You need to provide the platforms and the guardrails, so the VP of trading can push out micro training in real time. It's about proof of readiness, not certificate of completion. Okay, pop quiz.
All right,
Does
here we
this
go.
sound like it was written by a L&D journalist, B, a company trying to sell something, C, a financial news organization?
I would say pick the one in the middle. Pick the one in the middle. Pick the one in the middle. but that's my
Yeah,
knee-jerk
I
response to a
tried to
lot of
throw
these.
in a trick one for you, but no, yeah. So I'm guessing somebody's trying to sell something here. The reference is from On-Course Learning. I don't know if that's a product or a thing, but here's what I'll do. Copy link address, and I'm going to drop it into the Slack chat, and I'll let the producers check it out. And
I mean, nothing says reliable and informative as much as a stock image.
I know. Well, you know, the interesting thing is that doesn't even look AI generated.
No.
Losers. Come on, people. B, company trying to sell. Yes, I think that's right. But On-Course Learning, I'm assuming, is a product. Anyways, yeah, you know, maybe they did do a bunch of research and maybe this is a legit thing. I don't know. Someone's going to have to read that and comment on it.
Well, I just
for
clicked on
us.
the State of Learning and Development report for 2026.
Expert-led financial services training. Yep, there you go. So it's very specific to the financial, the fintech world. So yeah, so it was B. I was right.
Yeah.
It's a cool logo though.
Very cool.
For sure.
I
So
know.
consultant in chief, your role just became consultant in chief. You
Yeah.
can't be the bottleneck anymore. So, I mean, basically, what are we saying? We're saying we need to give the experts tools to share their knowledge, and we just help them do that, and we manage the output.
All right.
I believe is what they're saying.
I think it's cool. Yeah, depending on which segment of the news you listen to today, you could either be an engineer or you could be a consultant.
Depends on what industry you're working in.
Or-
You could be engineering. Let's see. Well, how can I spin this? You could be engineering expert authored content by allowing the experts to author content that you then. No, never mind. Doesn't go anywhere.
Hey, look, they've got an on-demand webinar for you too.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, I've just gone down the rabbit hole of so on-course learning. You just got you got somebody who is not a real lead, but according to your marketing team, I'm an MQL because I downloaded something from your website. So there we go.
Wow. On-course learning. You know, you can advertise with us here. Just reach out to Mike or myself on LinkedIn, and you know, we're happy to give you a shout out every day if you'd like. That's the brief for today. Stop building courses and start building capabilities. We'll see you in the break room.
Hey, Cartoon, make sure you're connected up with Brent and me, and we'll get you into the Slack channel, and then there some of the links will end up working a little bit better. I know it's a little bit delayed on getting the message back to you, but make sure we're connected. Make sure we're connected up, and we'll get you the information on how to get into the Slack channel.
Do we have time for the cutting room floor?
We always have time for the cutting room floor.
This is our favorite part.
Let's go through it. Yeah.
Gillette and Layup Basketball Youth Coach Development Expansion. I have no idea why that even landed, but okay. Security Journey Manifesto, developer first AI security training launch. Okay. California SB 303, another one. Bias mitigation training results now protected from being used as evidence of discrimination, according to California SB 303. That might be interesting. That'll probably show up as one of the stories tomorrow.
Yeah, lucky us.
JP Loft app expansion, new focus on scalable learning ecosystems. The brain-computer interfaces, new tech restoring speech, too futuristic for immediate L&D application. That's why it hit the cutting room floor. So for those of you wondering, these are all of the stories that my AI producer found, but decided not to highlight in the script. Skills-based hiring surge, 85% of leaders prioritizing skills over degrees. The reason why they didn't pick it, old news, just higher stats. This is from eLearning Industry. Mentorship growth, 77% of HR pros say formal mentoring is now critical. Celiac disease training, new Illinois mandate for food service managers. It skipped it because it's too niche. Exercise and brain age, study showing aerobic exercise youthifies the brain, more wellness than L&D. That's why they skipped it. L&D budget stability, 90% of budgets holding steady in 2026. Anything jump out at you?
No.
No.
No. I mean, it's just not that interesting.
That's why I was at least, well, that's good. At least the AI is knowing which stories are interesting and which ones aren't.
Yeah. I would like to hear from folks who are listening, whether you do it in the comments or send us a direct message, either one of those kind of things work. What are some of the burning questions that you're kind of working through right now as we deal with this intersection of emerging technology, enablement technology, learning across an organization, and moving toward what's next? So like, what are you thinking about beyond the stuff that we're sharing in the news and kind of I think it's funny, but then again, our banter back and forth around these things, and because I mean, one of our objectives with all of this is one, make the information a little bit kind of easier to digest, so that it doesn't feel like everything is all over the place, and you can start to figure out, hey, what do I want to test? What do I not know about? What do I want to learn a little bit more about? Where do I want to go deeper? I'd like to hear from you. Like, what do you want to? What are some of the burning questions that you're working through right now? So hit us up in the chat.
Yeah, and it's nice to know we have other people watching as well. So you're probably just hearing for the first time too that we're doing a challenge on the 18th, 8 a.m. We're going to bring in some folks to each one use a different AI platform. We're going to offer up a quick challenge, and we're all going to go through the process of trying to get our AI platform of choice to solve that problem. You can either reach out to us to be a participant if you want to be one of the users of a specific platform, or you can just be a participant at home and play along.
And I am getting hammered with allergies and sneezing. So
maybe that should be our challenge. We should ask AI how to fix Mike's allergy problem.
Yeah, if we could just stop with how to fix Mike, and then and then everybody gets to choose. We'll have fun. We'll just do one of those wheels. How to fix Mike, and then spin the wheel, and then
whichever thing it lands on.
Where it stops, nobody knows.
We could do that. We could make it fun. We could have a whole bunch of different topics, and we'll vibe code a randomizer to pick from a list. Oh, this will be good.
See?
Yeah. So you create a list of a bunch of stuff, and then build a randomizer that
Yep.
gets generated like a wheel, and then create the visuals too, or something. And then everybody can have their different tool figure it out.
I absolutely love this question that Kateun put up there, and we don't have enough time to get into it today, but maybe this is one of those things we get into a little bit tomorrow, foreshadowing. And even we didn't even get into the 42 CFR or the engineer type stuff. My little red boxes back there. But what is the role of L&D professionals when technology learns faster than people, and fixed visions are no longer the in our horizons? Um, that is a super interesting question. Katun, thank you.
Yeah, let's hold that. Wendy, I love the picture, by the way. AI is just awesome.
So good. So good. All right, Brent, I said we do this again tomorrow. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
6 o'clock in the morning Mountain for those of you who are in Arizona and in the Mountain time zone. This part of the year, we're time shifters. Sometimes we're in the
We
Mountain
are.
time zone. Sometimes we're in the Pacific time zone.
We are the time shifters.
6 I kind of feel like Art Bell. 6 o'clock 6 o'clock in the morning for us here in Arizona. 8 o'clock for those of you on the East Coast in the States. Everybody else, you'll have to do the time zone math, and if you are on the West Coast in the States, it's 5 o'clock your time. Thank you for.
And where can people find their catalyst, Mike?
You can find your catalyst at findmycatalyst.com. Connect us up with us on LinkedIn. If you want access to the Slack channel, hit us up in the DMs.